What's up, Packer fans? Welcome into the Pack a Day podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. Today, I am joining you to discuss Jordan Love primarily, but for those of you who haven't had a chance to go through some of my recent videos and articles, I just spent the last couple months doing really deep dives into every Packers draft pick this season, from Eric Stokes to Kylan Hill and everyone in between. I know that we're now sitting, a couple months after the draft, and you may seem like you've read everything there is to read, but these are intense deep dives into each of these prospects, and it really gives me an opportunity to really dive into the film and share with you guys all of my observations on every single one of those picks. So why am I bringing that up today? Well, I did the exact same project for a few of the draft picks a season ago, but primarily for Jordan Love. And I dug into every single one of his games from 2018 and 2019, using all 22 wherever I could, and did a extreme dive into the film. And as we sit here today in June, obviously, this breakdown of Jordan Love is much more important today, maybe even than it was a season ago, because as of right now, Jordan Love may or may not be the starting quarterback of your Green Bay Packers this upcoming season. So I wanted to take some time, since, again, it's more appropriate today, maybe more than ever, to go back and kind of review that Jordan Love article. So if you haven't had a chance, you can check out the 2018 and 2019 articles from PackerReport.com. Again, I broke down every game from 2018, every game from 2019, so you can check them out there, but I'm going to be doing my best to give you my full breakdown today. So let's start with 2018. So here were my 12 observations from Jordan Love watching every game of his from 2018. So the first thing, the biggest thing that stood off the tape to me with Jordan Love in 2018 is he had the ability to make every single throw that you could possibly want him to make. So what does that mean exactly? So first of all, it means that he can reach every level of the field with ease. He can reach left, middle, center, deep, intermediate, short. He can run, do the screen passes, use different arm angles. He can hit tight window throws in the middle of the field, and he has the ability to change pace on the ball when he's making those throws as well. Bullet pass, tight window throws. He has the soft touch. He has the velocity. He can change up to do anything that you need him possibly to do on the football field. If you want to go and watch a deep out in college, if you want to watch a fade, a 9 route, a deep post, you can find tape of every single level, NFL level throw in his 2018 college tape at Utah State. There is nothing that's left to the imagination. With some quarterbacks, because of the systems that they're in, you have to project as to whether or not they can make some throws in the NFL, or whether they're going to be able to do it with any level of consistency. Now, I'm not saying Jordan Love was perfect on every single one of these throws, but there is legitimate tape of him making every single throw and doing it in a lot of times with a level of difficulty as well, meaning he was on the run, meaning he was throwing off platform. He has the arm strength to reach any level of the field. Again, he can change up the pace of the ball so he can put touch on it when you need to. Back shoulder fades, all of it. All of it is in his disposal. So if there's any question as to whether or not Jordan Love has the straight arm talent or can reach any level of the field, that is completely out the window. He has every throw in his arsenal, every tool in his tool belt, whatever cliche you want to use. He has all of it, and it's on display in his 2018 tape. Number 2 on my list was Love has impressive touch and placement. And I think some of those accuracy questions were, thrown about, and I'll get to accuracy in just a moment, but the ability for Jordan Love, so many of these, let me go back for a second. When we used to talk about Brett Favre, like after Brett Favre, there was like every single quarterback after that is like, oh, we got to find the next Brett Favre, whether it was Kyle Bowler or JP Lossman, or like all of these quarterbacks is like, oh, it's the next Brett Favre. And these were, Rex Grossman was another one. These rocket arm quarterbacks, but they didn't have the touch or the placement, that was required of them. And they ended up struggling for a variety of reasons, not just that, but so many of these young rocket arm quarterbacks have one speed on their ball and they don't know how to change it up. Like that's how they live. They live with the rocket ball. They die by the rocket ball. And that's not what I saw with Jordan Love in 2018. Yes, he has the ability to hit throws in tight windows. And again, I kind of discussed this in number one, but he also uses great touch, uses great placement. There were a variety of fades in the red zone. There were a variety of back shoulder throws. There were a variety of throws where he just threw with touch, anticipation, and accuracy that led me to believe that this is not just I'm going to drop back and I'm going to use this howitzer of an arm to throw to any level of the field that I want. He was a much more nuanced passer than that. And again, all of those throws at his disposal, but with touch and accuracy as well. Number three was those concerns about accuracy. So you look at his stat line, even in 2018, and you see a 61.9% completion percentage. And that is like the Mendoza line is right around there for college quarterbacks in accuracy. Because the truth of the matter is, like, Josh Allen is a unique player in the fact that it is very, very rare for somebody to have a low completion percentage in college and then get to the NFL and have it be better. Like, you just don't see it because, of course, college is easier. You have, more open windows. You can throw with more accuracy. There's not as much pressure. Defenses aren't as exotic. A variety of different reasons. Now you come to the NFL, the players are better, the schemes are better, everything's faster. It's highly unlikely that you come to the NFL, even with experience, and become a better, more accurate thrower at the NFL level than you were in college. So you want to see ideally 65, 66, even above that. So 61.9 is a little bit of a red flag if we're being real. But when I watched him on tape, I didn't have any concerns with his overall accuracy. Again, I saw throws that receivers could have had that they dropped. I saw overall solid technique. It was something he needed to clean up, and his overall technique, and I think he's actually done a really nice job of that in the NFL so far. As I've watched him in rookie mini camps, OTAs, his overall form looks much more compact. The ball's exploding out of his hands. I do think he's cleaned up his form some, but I never see there was anything that, like, you go back and watch Aaron Rodgers at Cal, right? Like, just all over the place with mechanics. He had that high ball carriage. Like, all of it was just a little bit of a mess. Like, I didn't see that with Jordan Love. I saw a player that maybe a few tweaks here and there to how he was doing things, but overall had the throwing motion and the easy gas on his ball, again, to be able to make any throw. And I didn't see any major issues with accuracy. I thought he mostly did a good job with his feet leading to the receiver. All things, again, that he could semi-work on, but nothing that was just extremely broken where you're like, all right, he has like that Blake Bortles hitch in his throw or the, high ball carrying from like Aaron Rodgers. There's nothing egregious like that. And when I watched him throw the football, I thought he had plenty of accuracy throwing it. I didn't have any concerns. I didn't watch his tape and be like, all right, accuracy is going to be a major concern. Now, we'll get to 2019 later, but when I was watching 2018, I didn't have any questions with his accuracy. Number four was his ability to make those tight window throws. So you go back and you read Bob McGinn's scouting series from that draft, and one of the scouts talking about Jordan Love said that Jordan Love might be the first ever player who goes from college to the NFL and sees wider windows in the NFL than he did in college. And a lot of that's due to the talent that was around Jordan Love, but he just didn't have wide open receivers. It just wasn't a scheme and a system of players that allowed Jordan Love to have a high completion percentage. And he made consistently tight window throws with tight coverage, threw wide receivers open, and it was really gorgeous football to watch. And that's what you want out of your quarterback that you think can lead you to the next level, is that ability to throw wide receivers open and throw tight window throws. And again, as that scout's mentioning, it's very rare, but again, you get to the NFL, the players are better, the windows are tighter, and now all of a sudden, we see so many quarterbacks clamp up in those type of situations. With Jordan Love, he saw all of that in college. Again, there's nothing to project here. Baker Mayfield's a great example of a quarterback. Kyler Murray's another one where you go and you watch his college tape and it's like, yeah, it looks fantastic, but he's throwing to wide open receivers all day long. That's no disrespect in any way, shape, or form to Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield, who are both phenomenal quarterbacks in their own right. But you go and watch him in college and you have to project this to like, okay, how is he going to do when he doesn't have wide open receivers running down the field at multiple levels? With Jordan Love, you didn't have to project that. You saw a multitude of tight window throws that he was able to make with a high level of consistency. Number five, my first downside for my 2018 tape with Jordan Love, is there were plenty of turnover-worthy plays in 2018 as well. You go to 2019 and you see the stats and you see all the interceptions and you're like, all right, so why was it that he basically didn't have any interceptions or turnovers in 2018 and then he had a bunch in 2019? Obviously, it must be the change in personnel and the coaching staff and all of that, and you can write that all off. But the truth of the matter is that in 2018, there were plenty of turnover-worthy plays as well. The defenses just didn't make the most of them and actually turn them into turnovers. There were multiple times where he threw into tight windows. There were multiple times where he tried to do a little bit too much. There were multiple times where he threw into coverage because he didn't see the player that was dropping into coverage. All of the same things that we would see eventually in 2019 that would cause him, cause teams to have a level of concern. You go back and watch 2018 and you see those exact same things. They just didn't turn into turnovers with the same level of frequency. So a little bit of a red flag there that this was showing itself as early as 2018, even though the numbers and the stats didn't recognize it, it was still unequivocally there. So number 6 is, what about those turnover plays? What type of turnover plays did he have on tape? And there were 3 very specific types of turnover plays that he had on tape. Number 1 is he would just try to do too much. You would see him, again, playing with players at Utah State and not maybe having the talent around him, where he was trying to be Superman a little bit. He was trying to be the guy that was leading his team to victory. And for the most part, both in 2018 and especially in 2019, that was understandable. Like, he had to be the guy that was going to get wins for this team. So it's understandable that he tried to do much, but it's also unequivocally true that he did just try to do too much. There were times where he just needed to make the simple throw. There were times where he needed to throw the ball away. We just saw a little bit too much hero ball from Jordan Love, even back in 2018. His second type of turnover play was where he would stare down and predetermine where he was going with the football. There's a lot of plays both in 2018 and 2019 where he gets locked on a receiver, pre-snap, predetermines where he's going, and he decides to go there no matter what. And that's something that he has to clean up. You can't just fixate on one read and expect it to be there based on what you're seeing pre-snap. And that's something that's going to even be much more troublesome when he gets to the NFL. Is, again, defenses are going to be more exotic. What you think you're getting pre-snap is not what you're going to get post-snap at all. So he's going to have to do a much better job of, it's fine to believe where the defense is going to lead you and make that first read and think that you're going to throw there. But then if it's not there, you have to adjust and do something different. And too many times he just predetermined, and no matter what happened, he went there anyway. So that's something that, again, he's going to have to work on. And then number 3 is just not having vision on where he's throwing the ball. And again, this partially has to do with reading defenses once again. And it's so important that, again, no matter what happens, you have vision in front of you. So you would see him lock into one area of the field and then maybe come across and throw and just not have awareness of a linebacker dropping into coverage. When you're quarterbacking a team, it is so important that you've got, vision almost everywhere on the field, and you have vision as to where you're throwing the football. Do you actually have a clean alley to throw the football? And we all know, going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, just how important turnovers can be. And Aaron has done such an insane job, best of all time, without question, at taking great, tremendous care of the football. And it's so important that you win the turnover battle because it just leads to a high percentage of wins. Turnovers is the number 1 indicator of winning in the NFL. So being able to take care of the football is so important. And when you're a quarterback, you can't just let things rip without having vision on what's going on in front of you. And that's something that Jordan Love absolutely has to work on, is making sure that he knows exactly where that ball is going and does he have a clear path to make that throw. Because too many times he would just make that throw without having vision in front, and it turned out into a linebacker dropping or a safety screaming ahead. So those are things, again, that he's going to have to work on. Number 7 is his mobility was much better than expected. I actually kind of equate his mobility a little bit to Aaron Rodgers. Is it a key part of his game? No. Does he run a 4.4 40? No. Is he going to be the next Michael Vick? No. But can he get to his spots and make plays, outside of the pocket, on the run, scramble and pick up some yardage when he needs to? Absolutely. I don't know that it'll end up being quite as good of a scrambler, especially as maybe early Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's mostly on that same par. So again, that's not necessarily what I was expecting going in, and I was pleasantly surprised with his overall mobility. Number 8 is I think Jordan Love has the ability to be a red zone weapon. So what does that mean? In the red zone, we know that everything tightens up into very small, tight spaces. And you have to have precision accuracy. You have to be able to throw in windows. And you also want some mobility to be able to make plays with the football and extend plays. And I think everything we've talked about up until this point goes into just how good he can be in the red zone and how he performed in the red zone in 2018. Again, the mobility allows him to step up in the pocket, extend plays, make plays, and even run in for scores when he needs to. He also has the ability, as we talked about, to make those tight window throws, which in the red zone is of the utmost importance because those windows get so insanely tight because you've got so many players packed into such a tight area of the field. I also saw him make a variety of back shoulder throws in the end zone. I also saw him throw a ton of just fades, back of the end zone fades that were just perfectly placed to give his wide receiver the best opportunity to go up and make a play on the football. So you want a fade, you want a back shoulder fade, you want a tight window throw, you want him to run it in, all of those things, you want him to extend the play. Jordan Love has the ability to do all of those things. And that's why, again, I think he can be such a red zone weapon. Number 9 is he showed a propensity to stand in and take a hit. And Ben Fennell always talks about this as job description throws. At some point in the NFL, they're going to blitz a player that your team can't pick up. And you have the ability to connect on a shot play down the field on a player that's either uncovered or has a mismatch down the field if you can just buy enough time to make that throw. And more often than not, what that means is it's not that you're buying time and getting outside of the pocket or doing something like that. You've got somebody screaming up the field ready to rip your face off. And what that means is you still have to step into that throw and make that throw with confidence, even though you know you're going to take a pounding. And that's a tough thing to do over and over in the NFL is as the more and more you take those hits. But you want to see that the player has that conviction and that courage to make those job description throws. And Jordan Love, again, did that with spades in 2018, stepping up when he knew he was going to take a hit to deliver a ball over the middle of the field. Now, as time goes on, when you're a Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, things like that, you don't necessarily always want to be taking those hits. And you want to avoid those hits, especially if you're an MVP caliber quarterback and you know how important it is that you can stay in there for that game and the games to move forward. But there are times where it just is part of your job as a quarterback and you have to take those hits. Jordan Love had no fear and made those throws, stepped up and completed those throws when given those opportunities. Number 10 is improvisation. And you hear people compare Jordan Love to Patrick Mahomes. I think a lot of that improvisation is where that comp comes in. And I think his ability to make plays out of the pocket, step up in the pocket, buy time, like all of it, like improvisation is one of those things now as you're evaluating quarterbacks. It's so high up on the list. It is so hard in today's NFL to be a quarterback that is just a pure pocket passer and you don't have any improvisational ability. Listen, you're going to call a multitude of plays throughout the course of a game that just can't beat beat the defense. Like the defense is just going to be better than what you called on offense. And if your quarterback doesn't have the ability to buy time and make improvisational plays, whether it's with his legs or with his arm, you're just fighting so far behind things because the defense is just going to win too many plays for you to consistently string together wins in the NFL. Your quarterback has to be able to ad-lib and make do with what he can in those situations, especially on third downs, fourth quarter, down by 7. Like you just can't, rely completely on whatever play call was called. So Jordan Love, again, showed that ability to make improvisational throws and some of the more ridiculous improvisational throws that you'll see a college quarterback make, again, back in 2018. Number 11 was another just crazy one, and that's the ability, for him to draw players off sides with his hard count and get free plays. I mean, this is truly Aaron Rodgers-esque. Now, nobody is Aaron Rodgers when it comes to getting people to jump off sides and get free plays out of it. I've never, in my time watching quarterbacks, seen a college quarterback as adept at using the hard count, drawing players off sides, and generating free plays and getting yardage and scores off of those free plays. It was legitimately like watching Aaron Rodgers at times. Now, again, nobody's as good as Rodgers. I don't think anyone has ever been, that I've seen, as good in college at it as Jordan Love. And already, in mini camps and OTAs this season, Jordan Love has done it on multiple occasions to draw players off sides and get free plays. This is something that will carry over incredibly well from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, is generating those free plays, getting those shot plays downfield, and having the ability and the straight quarterback arm strength and accuracy to take advantage of those free plays. It was really uncanny to see exactly how he did it, very similarly to Aaron Rodgers back at his time at Utah State. And then finally, my number 12 for 2018 is I understood the selection. I could understand why people didn't like it, and we can obviously see now how things are playing out where you can argue from now through the end of time as to whether or not it was the best decision to draft Jordan Love. But you go back and you watch his 2018 tape, and it is hard to not fall in love with the player. Now, we'll get into the 2019 tape, but as far as 2018 goes, listen, I watched Patrick Mahomes a ton at Texas Tech. In my personal opinion, Jordan Love's 2018 tape is better than any college tape from Patrick Mahomes. In my opinion, Jordan Love's 2018 tape was better than anything Justin Herbert put on tape in college. Does that mean that Jordan Love is going to be better than either of those quarterbacks? Probably not. If I'm betting today whether Jordan Love is better than either Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to bet on Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert. But if I'm just evaluating their college tape against each other, I liked 2018 Jordan Love better than anything from Herbert in any season, better than anything from Mahomes in any season. That's how good it was. So I can understand why you're picking in the late 20s, and all you have to do is use a 4th-round pick to move up and get them, and you want to maybe go and make that trade. I fully understand it. I fully get it. That's going to do it for my 2018 observations. I will be back tomorrow with 2019. You can check all of them out again here on the Pack-A-Day podcast. Make sure to subscribe and like this episode if you liked it. As I mentioned, I'll be right back here tomorrow with 2019. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.